Good evening, everyone. Just thought we'd pop in, do a little live. Doesn't seem to be much on tonight, so we've come to say hello. How is everyone? Mark, how are you? You okay, mate?
All's good, mate. All's good.
Brilliant.
Had a busy day.
Yeah,
Had a busy day.
Yeah, it's been a busy day. Nige, how are you, mate? Long time no see.
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. Long time no see. It's nice to pop on with you guys. Like you say, nothing on the telly. Doesn't seem to be a lot going on. So yeah, let's talk some Spurs.
Why not indeed? What you been up to, Sheriff? Much?
Nah, mate. Nothing really. Nah, I've been at the bits, but are we allowed to say?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, we are allowed to say. No, I was checking with the boss, man.
Yeah, of course you are, mate.
No, buddy. We got our new upcoming show, aren't we? That's going to start in the next few weeks.
Well, yeah, we have done. We've got that. Do you want to enlighten the people? You can enlighten
it's
the people.
going to be best Spurs of my lifetime.
That's it. Yeah,
It's,
you've got it, mate.
It's a 1 to 11 of the players in your lifetime. You got to pick your best team out of it. So it's not starting yet, is it? It's not going to start yet. We got to get some in the bank.
Yeah, they're not being dropped yet, but we're getting some of you YouTubers out there to pick your best 11s and your substitutes of your lifetime.
Yeah.
We'll get round to you all that we know, and even people that we don't know, we'll be asking to see if they'll do this. We're going to try and amalgamate all the formations, all the players into the all-time Spurs best 11 of our lifetimes. And the age ranges will be something like, 15 to 65, 70-year-olds that are YouTubers and Spurs commentators.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going after. And hopefully it will all work out really good. But we'll keep people updated on it as to what we're doing. We're working hard on it. And it's to give you a bit of different content, I would call it, Mark, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is, mate. It is. Well, it is. It's Spurs related, of course it is. But it's not the sort of doom and gloom that's lurking about at the moment, is it?
No, that's very true.
It's of your lifetime. You know, I mean, are we allowed to say what progress we've made?
You can say what you want, mate.
Well, all right. Well, no. I was just checking with the boss, mate. You are the boss.
All right. It's okay. Go on. I'll tell you off if you're not allowed to. I'll stop you. Don't worry.
Oh, all right. Well, so far we've done 3.
Yeah.
We've recorded 3.
Yeah.
We're not saying who.
No.
But we recorded 3 of the best Spurs teams of their lifetimes.
Yeah, we have.
And we're gonna. When do you reckon we'll start releasing them? Just to give people a.
Not too sure yet. We're not too sure. We want to get some recorded, so we've got them, and then once we're confident and happy with the amount of people that we've got coming in to do it, which from what the messages I'm getting, everyone's, I haven't had a bad response yet from it, so everyone seems very keen on it. So I'm hoping to run it towards the end of, or we're hoping to run it towards. Once it drops to the end of the season, maybe a couple of weeks into after the end of the season, and then the big bonanza show at the end where we will work out, like a computer, all the players that have been put in, the formations, and a couple of other things, and it will work out to be the all-time best Spurs team of our lifetimes.
Yeah, I was going to say, as we were saying, like at the moment, we've only got 3 sort of stored up, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we could release them 3 now, but we haven't got any more. We want to get it so we got like enough so we can sort of put them out one a day.
Yeah,
without worrying about.
It'll happen. And sometimes it takes times people to pick their teams. Some people have got 50 odd years to mull over, even more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So other people have got 15, 20 years to mull over.
Yeah.
So,
I reckon
I've got plenty of positives, Mark, from it.
Yeah.
And I don't think
personally, I reckon it will start within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, next week or so, next week to 10 days maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. But you'll know, the videos will come down and you'll see them. And just to let people know who haven't been invited yet, the chances are that you probably will be. We just haven't got round to it yet. We didn't want to send a wholesale message out. We wanted to sort of feel the market and see what the response to it was. And it's been really, really good. I've got to say, really good. So we will continue with it and we'll stop chatting now because Nige is here. Nige, how the devil are you?
I'm good. I'm glad it's Friday. It's been a long week. I've got to be honest, I'm bored of this international break now. I want to see Spurs back, even though we're crap. I want to see us back because it is difficult. There's not too much to talk about, is there, as far as Spurs goes, and it gets a bit boring at the weekends. I don't know what you guys think. There's no football, and it does get boring.
Yeah, it can do, can't it?
Yeah, well, there is football tomorrow, and it's just that we're not playing because we couldn't beat Villa.
Because we got knocked out.
Yeah, well, that's neither here nor there.
There'll be a bit of football on, won't there? Who's in the chat?
Yeah, I was going to say, should we go through the Mr. Kaufman? Yes. No. If you're still watching, mate, I'm sure you'll be doing your best team at some stage, whenever's good for you. Nita.
Nita's in the house. Hello, Nita. Nice to see you.
Good night. The Prem back this week. Are we ready? Debatable.
Really. We'll see.
Debatable.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, Lisa's in the house. Lisa's in the house.
Yeah. Good evening, Lisa? Miss. Good evening. Okay. Yes, us three will be there, and loads of others.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll all be there.
Looking forward to it, Nita.
Yeah.
Lisa, sorry. Big up, Nita.
Yeah, and someone who won't be here, someone who won't be at the protest because he lives.
Lord Scott, knows I'll be sending you a message just so you know if you're still about. Yeah, I'll send it to you later on this evening when we're done here.
Yeah, he obviously won't be at a protest unless he jumps on the plane.
No, I'm sure people will video it that he'll be able to get hold of one way or the other so you can see what's going on. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, just a little note on that while we're here. I know Mark wanted to speak about the protest a little bit next week. I just my little point is on it. As many of you that are able to come, please do. It's really important if you want change for your football club.
Mm-hmm.
If you want Levy out and you want to have a chance, of not just being mediocre, not him binning all the money, but someone coming in that gives us a chance of winning again.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Other people want different things, but that's what I want. I'll leave it to you, Mark and Nige, to summarise that little point up.
Yeah, well, the thing I've got to say about it, right? Yes, we all want Levy out. Yes, we do, because just for the fact of what he's done to the club, right? It's not the club I started supporting when I was a kid. It truly isn't. But is he truly going anywhere? As much as I don't like the man, is he truly going anywhere when he's built a £1 billion or several £1 billion business that he bought for 22 million? That's the bet. That's the thing I can't get my head around, especially now that the stadium's here and it's raking in money hand over fist. You'd be foolish to sell it now when he's raking in all the money. But even if we could get him to change, and put the football first for a change, just get him to change and think, right, this is a football club. It's not ready, Rolling Stones venue. It's not Lady Gaga venue. It's not the New York Giants, whoever else goes there playing American football. It's not a racetrack that's under the ground. You know, it's a football. It's a football team, and making the football team like making the football team like competitive should be on his list as well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't appear to be. You know, he's happy to rake the money in and charge fans Lord knows what to go in there. You know what I mean? It's over £1,000 at least for a season ticket, which is the highest in the country, by the way. You know?
Yeah.
And yet they're getting served a second, third rate product. You know, if you went to a restaurant with Michelin stars and you got like beans on toast so you could make yourself at home, you wouldn't be happy.
Beans on toast for £100.
Yeah. It's all about the money with him now. And it's not right. It's not right. Can I see him going anywhere? No, I can't. But just get him to change. Just get him to put the fans first. You know, because we're all fans. All three of us here are fans.
Yeah, of course.
You know, not that we go a lot, because I haven't been for years. But like, you know, we're still fans of the club. You know, when you got people like, well, I'm not sure about like who's in the chat, but like Ben, he's had a season ticket for a few years. You know, bloody expensive season ticket as well. You know,
so when you pay the big money, Mark, at the end of the day, you know, the very least you expect to see, I believe, is progress.
Well, exactly.
If you're not sort of up there in those upper echelons, the club has gone through a bit of an iffy time, and so on. You just want to see that bit of progress.
Of course,
but when you're not seeing anything, and if anything, over the last 2 years, all you're seeing is a steady decline. You're not seeing players progress. You're not seeing the play on the pitch progress. You know, then when you're paying the sort of money that people like Ben are paying to go week in, week out, you're entitled, as far as I'm concerned, to get frustrated.
Bloody right.
You know? We get frustrated as fans that don't go, that haven't got a season ticket, that don't go as regularly as we want to go, just by watching it on the TV. You know, so you can imagine how people feel. My uncle's been a season ticket holder for nearly 50 years. 50 years he's been paying into that club, and his season ticket's something like £1,800 now. You know, and he's still paying, and he don't agree with what's going on. He don't like what he's seeing, you know, but he knows if he gives it up, he'll never get it back.
Exactly.
And that's the stance that he's in. He doesn't like what he's seeing at all, and he does want Anja, and he does want Levy out, but that's just his stance on it. But at the same time, he's a bit caught in the middle. Do you know what I mean? He really would like to go stuff it, you know. But 50 years of your life, Mark. Like Ian, it's a bit like when Ian Lubin says about it, and you know, people question him. I don't need to question Ian, because Ian was supporting Tottenham a long time before Levy was about.
Yeah, we all were. You
know what I mean? So, you know, I get when Ian says I go because I go to support the team, whatever that team may be, on the pitch. That doesn't mean he's like agreeing with what the manager's doing.
No. Right.
I understand where he's coming from on that. I do get that.
Let's welcome Luke in the chat.
Luke, if you're still on, if it's okay, I'm going to ask Sava for your number, mate, just because I need to speak to you about our little thing that we're doing. It's because we'd like you to come on. So, I'll endeavour to get your number, mate, and we'll sort that out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. There is to do, and we don't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I can't make it. Ain't because I don't want to. Life has dropped me. That's fair enough. That's
understandable, Nita. Not everyone can. But we know you'll be supporting it anyway. We know.
Yeah. Well, she's basically, look, my stand has always been Levy step aside from all footballing matters. Yeah, but to be honest, right? Look, as I tried to explain when I had my bit of a rant just a minute ago, he bought that club, or well, not he. Enoch bought that club for £22 million, 20 odd year ago, whatever it was, and now it's worth as much as he wants to charge for it. I think that if you look into it, I think the club's valued at about 2 point something billion.
Yeah.
So he's at least made the 22 million go up by tenfold. You can times it by 10. No, I've done wrong maths. No,
hundreds and hundreds.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, 100 times. He's made it 100 times more, at least.
Yeah.
Than he bought it for.
Yeah, he's made a lot of money on it. Put it that way.
And the amount of money that stadium rakes in now, because it's not the football anymore; it's the concerts, the racing, the jumping off the roof, the skywalk. All the events that's there, the hotels that are being built. All the money that's coming into the club now, it'd be a fool to sell it. Because
take an astronomical bid for him to sell.
It would. I reckon you're talking 4, 5 bill.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At least.
But
like you say, if this march, if this protest can make him step aside and just let somebody take over the football side of it, that would be, for me, that's as good as we're going to get. And I'd be.
Do you think he'll ever let go of that though, Nigel? Like without selling the whole cabal? Do you think like he would sell the football inside, like separately as a separate entity?
I'm not sure about sell it, but just he's one for hiring, isn't he? He likes bringing his people in that his transfer people, or people like Lang, people like Munn. Why can't he just hire somebody just to take over the football side and just step back from it all?
But don't you think he'd even put restrictions on that though, Nige? Do you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, if you get that deal ready, you've got to put it through me. Oh no, sorry, that's I can't do that.
Yeah, and that's the problem we got, isn't it? Is he ever really going to step aside totally unless he's gone? But for now, I think that's the best we can hope for, because, like Mark said, I don't think there's any way he's going to sell unless there's a crazy, crazy figure that makes him say no to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, we don't know, obviously, because we don't know what goes on. Well, nobody does. Nobody knows what truly goes on inside that club. But all the things you hear about him being so hands-on and getting involved with everything, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to say, that, especially when he's signing the checks and that at the end of the day, I think it's going to be very difficult for him if he brings someone in and he goes to poke his nose in, and he said, Daniel, just step aside, look, this is my job. We don't know what goes on in there, obviously.
We're just summarising, aren't we?
We're only summarising, but I can't see that he'd ever do that, because you just got to look at when the stadium was being built. Apparently, he had input in every aspect of it.
Yeah.
Every little aspect, from the smallest bit to the big bits.
And way over budget as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, but he had input into all of it. All of it. Even to the decorations and the flooring and, you know what I mean? Even the things you'd think, oh, well, that don't matter. Allegedly, this is allegedly.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the best thing to do is, if you can get there next Sunday, please do. Yeah. We're open. As many people turn up as possible. Us three are, we've planned to be there. We know others that have planned to be there that weren't there last time, that couldn't get there. It's not for the case of not wanting to go. It's just sometimes you can't get there. So we've all made a big effort to try and get down there, to be there on Sunday week. And meet as many of you as possible as well. It's going to be great to meet people that we've never met before.
Yeah,
that'll be great. And let's support change for Tottenham. they're doing their bit. They're doing what they can. And let's get behind them and let's get down there and do what we can to either get Levy out or get him out of the football, one way or the other. Ultimately, for me, it's get him out. But, we'll see what happens. But do your best to get there, people. It'd be great.
Evening, Phil, by the way. Just come in the chat.
Phil. Nice to see you, mate. Yeah. Right. So I've been a busy bee today, as you know, Mark. I haven't really kept up with a lot of YouTube, but I've been told by a certain someone there's been a few things going on that are probably rumours or they were concrete, but now they've been put out by the water that's been put on them, or they could be true for all we know. They could be true. So as there's not been a lot of football on, we've got a couple of items to talk about. The first one being, is it? Do you pronounce it Paratici? Is that how you pronounce it? Paratici.
Yeah.
Paratici.
I
don't know. Paratici. Sorry if my pronunciation's not very good.
Tomato, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'll say Paratici because I sound good. I'm happy with that. So Paratici returning to Spurs now. I know someone that might have read a little bit about this today, so they might be able to tell us a little bit about it, Nige.
Well, currently, obviously, Paratici has been in talks with AC Milan about possibly moving there once his ban is up.
Yeah.
And everyone, obviously, over the last couple of days have been summarising that it looks like Paratici's leaving Spurs, won't be back in the dugout for us doing what he does.
Yeah.
But then it's come out today that apparently Spurs have been in meetings with him and they've agreed a deal, apparently £5 million a year for Paratici to come back after his ban is up. And then later on this evening, I've heard that actually Spurs haven't even spoke to him. So what you believe, I don't know. But the rumours are that Paratici could be coming back to Spurs once his ban is up. Which I would love.
Does that mean the end of Mr. Lang if he comes back? Because I can't see that working.
Can't see them both being there, can you? So yeah, one of them has to go. So hopefully is Lang leaving. Yeah, I don't know. I've not been impressed with Lang so far, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know what you
was
guys
that not? Because I sort of read a little bit of it. Was that not part of the negotiations that he'd be leaving?
I don't know.
Well, this is only what I've heard. This is only what I've heard that if Paratici does come back, he will insist on. Was it Lang going?
Yeah, Lang and Ange, wasn't it?
Lang and Ange. Now the Ange bit, I got no problem with. Get him gone immediately.
Yeah.
He'd be gone before anyway.
Well, it said something about the bit that I read was Paratici coming in. He wanted Lang and Ange gone, and they were talking about Xavi, or Patrici was talking about Xavi. That's all that I read. You know, that's all that I read. So,
big up, Daniel.
All right, Daniel. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well.
Yeah, no, I read that as well. That if Paratici does come in, he is one of the first things he will do is demand Ange is replaced and be looking to bring in Xavi again. What you believe, I don't know, but Xavi for me would be one hell of a coup for Spurs. You know, I'm unsure about him as a manager, but what a player! What a player! He still do a good job in the midfield for us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Mark, do you want to put the link in the chat, Mark? And if anyone wants to come on, they can. It's entirely up to you, Mark.
I can do it if you want. I can do it if you want.
If you want to put it in, because Dan might want to come on, or Phil, or whoever. I don't know. So anyone, or Luke might want to pop on. I don't know what everyone's doing, but you know, if you want to put it in the chat in a minute, then by all means do so. If no one's got a problem with that.
Yeah. If you want me to, I can copy and paste it now.
Have a little chinwag for a bit if anyone wants to come on. Anyone might have something else to say, other bits and pieces to talk about. You know.
Oh, I think I did that right. Hang on. Here we go.
Yeah. So have you seen anything else while you've been having a look online today, Nigel? Anything else about Spurs popped up? Any little stories?
There was a story regarding Bergvall, and apparently Dortmund and Bayern are showing interest for the summer. And Spurs are putting a price on Bergvall's head of like 55 million plus, just to warn off any suitors. How true that is, I don't know. But wouldn't it be typically Spurs that we're building a young side, and then as soon as someone offers some money, we sell somebody.
Well, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, how true it is, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
probably
because
talk.
I can't remember how much did we give for Bergvall? I know what a lot.
About 10.
Like 10,
Yeah, 10 million euro.
Something like that. Yeah, it's about 10.
And allegedly the price was 55 million.
Is that what they've put up? 55 million they want for it?
Well, that was only
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I ain't being funny, right? You could see Levy doing that type of deal to someone like Bayern, couldn't you? Because of, you could just see it happening. I could see that happening for a quick profit. I don't know. Depends how highly they rate him at the end of the day at this stage of his career. Can you turn down 55 million for a kid that's played, I don't know, a couple of handfuls of games in the Premier League?
Well, and to be honest as well, I don't think it really matters if the club, the manager, the whoever rates him as high as they like. If Levy wants to sell him, he'll just sell him.
Yeah.
You know, someone's here. Mr. Daniel's come in.
Yeah, Dan's coming.
Shall I bring him in?
Mark? You bring him in, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Here you go. Evening, Daniel.
Evening, Dan.
You all good, mate? All good, Jeff?
Yeah, man. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Just was, I was about to say I'm looking forward to the game next week. More football coming back, but I don't know if I am looking forward to Tottenham playing personally. So I'm looking forward to the Frankfurt game on the 10th to see potentially where our season goes after the Frankfurt game. But I'm not really looking forward to these next two Premier League games personally because
I'm definitely. I was going to say, go on, Sam. I was going to say I'm definitely not looking forward to Chelsea next week. I'm not.
Yeah, we don't even beat them when we were playing well. So imagine when we were playing bad. So yeah, I know obviously. Yeah, so that's Stamford Bridge. I think I'm 34. I think they won there once in my lifetime, and that was when Denny scored the 2 goals.
Yeah, it's not very often, mate, is it? It's not very often.
So it's not really a nice hunting ground for us, is it? Stamford Bridge. And then after that, we've got Southampton. We've got Southampton at home.
Yeah.
Which I heard the other day. If he loses at home to Southampton, he'll be the first ever Spurs manager in Premier League history to lost against all 3 promoted clubs at home in the same season. Because he's lost at home to Leicester, at home to Ipswich, and at home to Southampton. The little stat that I just like to put out here: before Ange come, we had lost twice against the promoted clubs at home in 33 games. He's lost twice against them in 5. So he's equalled their record in 33 games in 5 matches. That's all the Spurs managers put together in them 33 games. That must be probably 9, 10 managers, probably, or at least 7 or 8. Or he's equalled that record. He's equalled that record in 5 matches. He based all the all the wrong records. He based all the wrong records as well. It's like to the point where it's indefensible. You can't I'm sort of looking forward to this season finishing because I can't. Even if we win the Europa League, I can't have another season like this. I want him. I've said a little rant about Ange, but I want him gone no matter what happens at the end of the season now. Which sounds mad because if I'd have said beginning of the season, win me a trophy, I'd have been happy with that. But not the way the season's panned out. It's unacceptable.
Definitely. I would say. Well, I know we've all got our agendas with Ange, and there's a lot of people that like him and want him to stay. I sort of understand it, but the way we've been, honestly, I've never been so bored of watching Tottenham. He's meant to be an attacking manager, but I find the football boring. You know, it's dreadful. It's dreadful, the football. You know, I mean, to be honest, I don't care what football we play as long as we're winning. You know what I mean? I was more than happy with Conte ball, Mourinho ball. I was more than happy with that. All right, we did lose, but like, you know, we knew that when the game started, we'd sort of have a chance.
Yeah.
You know, not now. Yeah. Not now. It doesn't matter who we're playing. Doesn't matter who you're playing. As soon as the game kicks off, you start getting worried. You think, oh my goodness, when's it? You know, I mean, was it the last home game when we go up a chance in about the first minute? You know, it's nonsense football. Absolute nonsense.
Well, it was.
Bournemouth game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was like watching it all last season, and then you got to the end of the season, and you thought, right, he's got to change this summer.
Yeah.
He's got to change. He's had a year now. He's got to change. And then I think we got, well, I was done after the Chelsea game last season, to be honest with you. I was done after that, after the 4, what was it, whatever it was, 4-2-3, whatever it was. We was crap after them 2 sending offs. I got no idea what that manager was doing, lining everyone up on the halfway line. But that's just me anyway. But I've had enough.
I've never seen that before in football. I've never seen that before in my life. In football,
Dan, honestly, that was shocking, mate. That was shocking. But, you know, he got to the end of the season and I thought, well, he's got to change. I just can't see him carrying on because it's not sustainable. You could see it wasn't sustainable. It was going sort of on that downward trajectory, you know, pretty much after the 10-game winning streak at the beginning of that season.
The first 10 games, it was going like that.
Yeah.
And then we got to the Chelsea game. He'd done his madness with 9 men. They were all stood on the halfway line. And you could see after that, it was slowly. If you look at after the first 10 games, you know, I can't remember. We did win some, but like it was such a rapid, because the first 10 games we were all loving it, top of the league, few points clear at one stage, wasn't it? We were all starting to think, can we?
So,
yeah.
So Mark, guys, I got a question for you. When did you just said the Chelsea game up, but when did Ange lose you personally? What was the game that did it for you? Was that was it? Was it the Chelsea
game? For me personally, the Chelsea game, I wasn't expecting no more because we always lose to Chelsea anyway. But I was sort of questioning why he had like with 9 men and we were still like stood on the halfway line. But it was sort of the decline after the Chelsea game. You know, it was just dreadful. You know, and you could see like the sort of the people on like Match of the Day, they were starting to pick apart his tactics. And then the Wolves game happened. And the Wolves manager says, well, this is what I've done. You know, and he just told, well, the rest of the country had worked out by then. But the Wolves manager come on Match of the Day in his interview. And he said, this is how to beat Tottenham. Blah, 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 blah. Do this, this, and this. You know, and I was thinking, and then the match, you know, Shearer and that and whoever was on Match of the Day was saying, well, look at what these like fullbacks are. And they were like in around the number 10, you know, the number 10. And I was thinking, no, this ain't right, you know. And you could see the gaping holes down the wings and that where both the fullbacks would disappear. And we'd be sort of like, if they got the ball quickly and turn it over, we'd be like 4-on-2 at the other end. And you're thinking, this ain't right, you know. You know, yes, there was the odd game in there, like when we beat West Ham 4-0, wasn't it? And we went to Villa and won 4-0, wasn't it? 4-0 or something.
Yeah.
You know, but other than that, it was the other games, the teams you'd expect to beat, and they'd beat us 1-0 and that, you know. And I was thinking, nah, it just can't happen. And it's like you said, Matt, in the summer especially, you'd think, right, that's the first season out of the way. He must learn now. He must stop them wing backs bloody inverting, or play with a 6, or do something, you know, to make us more solid at the back. But no, none of it happened. You know.
Do you lads on the panel blame him wholeheartedly for what's going on the pitch, or do you at any point stretch it and go, well, if he'd maybe given better tools by the chairman, the outcome might have been slightly different? I'm not talking about us winning the league, but I'm saying we'd have been maybe higher up. Hypothetically, I'm just asking the question to any of you.
I put it all on Ange personally. There's absolutely no doubt, the board haven't backed any manager for a long time. So the board will always take blame for that. But for me, Ange totally 100% needs to take blame for what's happening on the pitch. Yeah. And for me, I think I've been quite supportive of Ange. He didn't actually lose me until the Brighton away game, when we were 2-0 up at half time, and he stood with his hands in his pockets the second half, and then come out after the game and said we didn't deserve to win, and so I didn't change it. Players on the pitch need to change it. For me, that's not installing a winning mentality. You wouldn't see Mourinho do that, or Alex Ferguson. They would get the result regardless of how they played. They'd shut up.
To be honest, I'll be honest with you, Nige. If you'd have said that in any other job, you'd have been sacked.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I mean? If you'd have had that attitude going into work, you did something wrong and you think, well, I didn't deserve to do it right. You'd be sacked immediately.
Yeah.
Listen, most managers in the Premier League this season that have underperformed have been booted.
Yeah.
Right? Any other time, I don't care what anyone says, we've all watched it over the 24-year tenure. We've seen the half-time sackings. We've seen the sackings of manager a week before cup finals, and on and on and on. All for whatever the reasons are. So my question to you three is, sorry, Dan, I know you didn't answer the other one, but how or why is this bloke still in a job after 16 losses this season? Right, he's got the Europa, but you're not telling me Levy is keeping him just for the Europa when we're in the, what I would call, destitute position of where we are and where we shouldn't be. Why is he still here?
Well, like that. I was going to say, you go, Dan, because you never answered the last one.
Oh, I'll say about, why is he still here?
Why do you think he's still here, mate?
Well, if you look at it now, a lot of people were saying it because of the amount of injuries we had during that period, and the run was so bad that maybe they've given a bit of leeway there. But I don't really understand how he's still here, because if you look at the league table, the only teams that haven't sacked their manager is, I think, us and Ipswich.
Yeah.
Southampton obviously sacked their manager. Wolves have sacked their manager. Man United didn't sack their manager down there. Like, literally, other than, like, if you look at the bottom half, like, all the teams around us that are around there, Everton have sacked their manager as well. They've all got rid of their manager during a period where they've had this form, and they've done it earlier in the season. It's like Daniel Levy has put all in Europa League, and I can't understand how he thinks that guy can win Europa League when he can't get any sort of sustainable run of form in the Premier League. I know the Europa League's a cup competition, and sometimes you can get lucky in cups, but I can't. If you look at it, the realistic chance we might have to get past Frankfurt and Lazio. To get past Frankfurt and Lazio, we're probably going to have to get lucky twice. We're going to have to get lucky against Frankfurt and then lucky against Lazio as well. And then probably get to a final, we're going to potentially have to beat Atletico Bilbao. That's going to probably be our route to a final, I reckon, potentially, to winning it. So if you look at it like that, how's Ange going to win them 3 games? We could have easily gone and got rid of him in January, February, gone and got a Terzic or someone like that, maybe for 5 or 6 months, and just said, look, this guy got Dortmund to a Champions League final with quite an average Dortmund side as well. If you look at that Dortmund side, that's a very average Dortmund side. Who this season, like a couple of years later, they're 10th or 11th in the league, Bundesliga, now they're struggling. That Dortmund side didn't deserve to be. If you look at it on paper, that should have been in the Champions League final, that Dortmund side. So he overachieved with that Dortmund side that season. I look at Terzic and I can't see no reason why we couldn't got a Terzic. And another point about Ange as well. Do I blame Ange for this? No, personally, I do. because we had a sort of injury crisis similar to this last year. We're not as bad as this. But we started the band event when the injury against Chelsea, and the results started dropping then. And we saw the first signs from Ange that this guy can't adapt to an injury crisis this year. And in the second season, I've seen this guy's got 25 years of management, and as soon as he has any sort of injury crisis, he falls back into excuses. I've seen managers who have been in management for 5 or 6 years, like an Iriola, who can adapt through injury crisis. I know one thing: if Conte had this amount of injuries or Mourinho, we would not be 15th or 16th in the Premier League. There would have been able to adapt through this situation, and at least pick up some more draws where we've lost games as well. That's what I mean. It's not even like we've picked up draws; we've just lost loads of matches. So you look at some of the results as well. There's some games where it's like we could have got a point here, not just like there was a general time in the league where if the bottom three were really were a bit better, we would have been in the relegation battle because we were really struggling at a point. And if you look at it now, I think was it one home win in 4.5 months at home in the Premier League. That used to be White Hart Lane. Yeah, that used to be a ground where teams used to go there, and struggle to get a point. Now, the only teams used to go there regularly and get a win sometimes is the big teams, like maybe a City or sometimes not any. And now we're literally going there and we're getting beaten by anyone at home. Since Leicester beat us, they've not scored a single goal in the Premier League. 6 matches, 6 losses, 0 goals scored. So Leicester's last goal was against us, and that was 2 goals, and they beat us 2-1. They've not scored a single goal in the Premier League since. That shows you how bad we are to have got beaten by that Leicester side. And people make excuses about Ange and say we've got injuries, Well, if he can't even beat a Leicester team that are that poor, even with 3 or 4 players out, then bloody hell, what are we doing here? It's at home as well. It's not even like it's away. You know what I mean? It's a point where you can't even make excuses up for some of these games. Like the form was getting bad last season. He cost us top 4 last season. We had top 4 in our grasp, We lost against Aston Villa. Aston Villa ended up pipping us to top 4. So we lost top 4 because of that. The only reason we got top 5 because of the first 10 games. The bubble started bursting the moment, and started getting fan out with that high line. People were like, "What is this guy doing in this league?" This is like, I think people got a bit listening to like. This might come across a bit biased. I like Rangers as well, so obviously I've followed the Scottish League over the years as well. Like he'd never come up against any high-level managers in his career. I've always said this to people about him as well. As soon as you come to the Premier League, you can go up against even like a Bournemouth or a Palace manager. Their managers are going to be the better managers he's come up against. He's not come up against any high-level managers in his career. When he was at Rangers, I think he went up against Gerrard for a bit and Michael Bill. They're the only managers who went up against the Rangers. No managers in Australia, no managers like that. So like, he was never going to succeed in this Premier League. And people say, Ferguson took a while, man. Alex Ferguson won a league title with Aberdeen even before he comes to this country. No Scottish league title has been won since Alex Ferguson, other than Rangers and Celtic, and he won the European title. When people compare Ange's situation to Fergie's situation, come on, man. Ferguson had pedigree before he come here. Ange's got pedigree with Celtic against Rangers in the league. They're always going to win usually, and in Australia and Japan. That's not pedigree. I hate when people compare it to Fergie's situation and say, well, Ferguson took 4 or 5 years to win a title here. You've got to give Ange time. No, Ferguson's one of the greatest managers ever. You don't compare it to Alex Ferguson, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's madness when people compare it to like the Alex Ferguson situation.
Yeah, there we go. That comment there sums it up.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, spot on, that is.
Yeah. And that is basically that is just tweaking your tweaking your tactics mid-game. Like we've all said before, you're 2-0 up. Why have you got to go gung-ho?
Yeah, and as well, using the tools you've got instead of trying. The thing I always say, the square pegs and round holes thing.
Yeah.
He's got one way of playing, and we haven't got the players to play his system. Not that any team in the world probably has, but you look at Son and Johnson, right? Not been the best this season, but at the end of the day, Sonny has never been a left winger in his life. I don't care what anybody says, and nor is Brennan Johnson. He's not a right winger. They're inside forwards, both of them. Because when Sonny was with Kane, it was either Sonny providing Kane or Kane providing Sonny. Sonny was never out on the wing, ever. He was an inside forward. He was an inside forward. he was the one to latch on the balls and run through with it and slot it away.
Yeah.
You know, and Brennan Johnson. You look at Brennan Johnson at Forest. He was never a right winger ever. He was one of the ones. Brennan Johnson is sort of like the Jermaine Defoe when we had Defoe and Crouch. I'm not comparing him to Jermaine Defoe. Let's get that in immediately. But he was sort of like that, you know. He was the one that you'd feed it through, and he was never a winger ever. Brennan Johnson can't cross the road, let alone a football.
I'll tell you what, Mark. Brennan Johnson and the other fella who we've got on loan from Munich, Tell.
Yeah.
They remind me of forwards. I don't think they're wingers. I don't think Tell's a winger.
No.
I don't think Johnson's a winger. Sonny's never been a winger, but they remind me. Sonny proved it with Kane, and I think Johnson could be very similar, playing in that Son role that Son played with Kane. Do you know what I mean? With the right forward, and I think Tell could sort of do the same thing as he grows, like being a second forward to a main forward, playing off with someone. That's what those three remind me of. But it seems to me Angie's trying to play them as wingers.
But they're not wingers.
They're not wingers.
No.
They're just not wingers. Not for me, anyway. Not from what I've seen.
Maybe he's made the players worse. If you look at some of the players he's actually made worse in the team, though. Players like Bentoncourt, obviously, from the first season to about how the second season out, Bentoncourt's worse. Basuma's much more worse. Poro's starting to get worse now as well. You look at like Adoji's got worse as well. Like players are actually starting to decrease under him instead of improving. That's what I mean. That's another situation where you look at if we're going to have to if we keep this guy here, we're going to have to start selling some of these players. Some of these players are going to completely drop off. They're going to be rubbish by the time we finish with some of these players as well. And we can't just throw £300 million worth of investment under ours with throwing at him and say, look, these players are just going to keep getting crap by him and just take and then we're stuck with crap players and we're stuck with a load of dead wood again. So I mean, you have to get rid of this guy and get someone who's going to get better out of these players, like an Iriota type sort of manager who's similar like a Poch, who is going to get the bet, because we're not going to go out and spend 400. Andrew spent £380 million since quite a lot of money since he's been here. It's been spent on like a mishmash of sort of players, youngsters, and a few senior players. Yeah, so we're never going to go through that route where we just completely just go in a market and just spend £350 million on pure quality. It's just not the way Spurs do it. So we're going to need a manager like an Iriota, Hotch type manager to get better out of these players. There's no way in hell that these players are just proper crap. Some of these players are not great, but some of these players are better than this. And he's completely this system is exposing like nearly all their weaknesses. That's the problem as well. That's what makes him a really bad manager as well. When you've got a system that you see the weaknesses to how the players play, you see the weaknesses in their game, and you actually see it's exposing their weaknesses. He's not getting the best out of them. He's exposing their weaknesses, and that's what I mean. Defensively, we are a shambles. If you look how easy we are to play against, he's been here 20 months now, and he still doesn't know his best midfield three. That's another reason why I want him gone. You're a manager of 25 years of management, and you've been here 20 months in the Premier League, and we're a so-called Big Six football club here, and you still don't know your best midfield three. That's a joke. That's something that's so for start. If you don't know your best midfield three, you're imbalanced from the start, because he basically just doesn't not know. He's starting to maybe know that Bergbaum might be one of his best midfielders now, but he's only just started playing Maddison more regularly again after leaving him out for so long. But between that, he doesn't know the other one. Basuma Bentancur, or Sarr. Do you know what I mean? It's literally does not know his midfield three. I do not know any serious football clubs who don't at least know their established midfield three. That's what I mean. He's been here 20 months. It's a joke. People don't bring that up a lot when they say about making excuses up for Ange. They don't say the fact is he's been there 20 months here and he still don't know his best midfield three. There's no excuses for that. So I mean, he should know his best midfield three by now, and he still doesn't. That makes us imbalanced from the start.
Let's face it, if Kulu was fit, Maddison probably wouldn't be getting picked either. I think Maddison started more just because Kulu's injured.
Right.
So I don't go on, Mark, you go first.
No. Let's face it, right? It's like Daniel said, he has been here for 20 months. I could accept what we're going through now if this was his first 2 months. if it was his first 2 months and we were doing this, like when Poch come in. But when Poch turned up here, we did struggle. And there was rumours about him getting sacked. But after 2 or 3 months, you could see we were going like that on the upward trajectory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in all fairness, he's been here 20 months now. And I'll be honest, we're going backwards, man. Right? And it's true what Daniel said. What player has he actually improved? Now, I've said this on, I don't know if it's this channel, whatever channels I've been on, I've said this, right? The only players that you could say have sort of improved is people like Gray and Bergvall, where they're naturally getting better anyway because they're getting older and they're maturing.
Yeah.
That's
also
the only.
Spence, because Spence has mugged Ange off, hasn't he?
Well, yeah.
By coming in the team and proving that he should have had a place in the first place.
Yeah, well, let's face it, right? And with the injury thing that we've been going through now, right, the injuries and all that stuff, right, or you got to think, Gray and Bergvall would not have even gotten the team if we had a fully fit squad. He's only played them because he's had to, because he burns the rest of the players out and they get injured. You know, I mean, Spencer's been here for how long? A couple of years?
A while now, I was going to say.
And he virtually ran Porro into the ground before Spence. Well, he ran Porro and Udogie into the ground before Spence got a shot.
I'd sell him in summer.
Well, probably, yeah.
There is another one, isn't he?
The only reason he playing Spence is because he was refusing to. The only reason he's playing Spence is because he refused to play Reguilón when Destiny got injured. So basically, Spence had to play at left back. See, basically, he's got lucky with Spence. If he had his way, Adoji would basically be playing every match, and Spence would have hardly been playing.
Well, yeah,
and it was
the same as
sorry, mate.
It's the same as Graham Bergvall. If we never had the injuries in midfield to whoever it was, none of them would have got a game. All of them.
Same at centre half. If Romero and Van der Ven were fit all season, Dragishin and Davis would never have got a look in. They never got minutes when those two were fit. They only played as soon as they got injured.
Well,
exactly.
One thing I will say, I want to ask another question before it goes out of my head. But one thing I will say, Sava posted a video today of Basuma when he was at Brighton, when he was playing in his true position, as a box-to-box midfielder. I
haven't seen that yet.
I implore anyone to go and watch the video. Then you've seen what he's displayed for Tottenham since he's been here. But go and watch that video.
After this show, mind. After we finish.
This show, go and watch that and tell me the kid can't play football. Because he can. He can play football and he is good enough. I'm not blowing smoke up his arse. He done it at Brighton. You don't, if you can do it, you don't just lose it. You don't. That's like saying, well, Lionel Messi was great when he was at Barcelona, but when he went to America, he was crap.
Yeah.
It's the only thing with Tottenham, with players that seem to sign for Spurs, though, for me, is that we sign so many players who are confidence players. As soon as their confidence drops, and I know a lot of players play like that, but I want a few players who play for Spurs who's, Graham Roberts, those kind of players who will just play well and put their body on the line regardless. We seem to have too many players who's like, oh, I'm having a bad game, goes off form for 5 or 6 games. Jermaine Genius was prime example. Great player, but he'd have 1 or 2 good games and 5 or 6 bad ones.
Yeah, just not the consistency.
We've got too many players like that.
Yeah. Mark, let me ask this question before it goes out of my head. You know what I'm like. I wanted to ask Daniel first and then Nigel, Mark, if you want to come in. Daniel, if you could pick a manager, or if a new manager come in, I should more likely say, that was to coach like Poch did, coach players, put players in their correct positions, play them in a system and to tactics that they could, get used to, and you would see an improvement. Where do you think this team could be with a coach?
Well, we're definitely not where we are now. But if you look at it realistically, the squad and how we are, well, if you look at how the league is, we should at least be in the top 6, fighting for a top 6 position. So with a decent coach as well, top 4. If you look at how the Premier League is now, there's only two really established teams in the Premier League now, maybe, and that's well, 3. If you look at it now, Liverpool probably, Arsenal, and Man City. Yeah, so the fourth and fifth spot. If you think about it, fifth probably gets Champions League now because of the current efficiency in most seasons now. So we should be at least be in that conversation for maybe fifth spot, top 4, top 5, and to be where we are. Like, so even with them players now, if you look at the squad now, even with like Ange last season, we were 5th. We did finish 5th last season. Yeah, to be 16th this season, it's a complete massive drop off. So I mean, so these players are definitely better than where we are now. With a squad, with an Iriota, if you look at him at Bournemouth having a decent season to their expectation. And this is no disrespect to Bournemouth here, because I like the way Bournemouth have done this year. But you can only go so far with Bournemouth, because look, a good season to them, and look, they're still 10th in the league. If you think about it, yeah, you can only go so far with that club. So a good season to them is probably 9th or 8th. Yeah, with an Iriota, with these players he's got now, he's made players like Ryan Christie better, players like Liam Cook better. Justin Kluivert, no one was chatting about him a year ago. He can finally walk around now proud with the surname Kluivert, because he's definitely not going to be nowhere near as good as his dad. He's finally starting to play a bit decent, Justin. If you look at players like Semenyo as well, players like Taverner as well, yeah. If you look at the centre back, the one that plays, the one that might be going to Real Madrid, the young one, Dean. I can't pronounce his surname, Hyson, yeah. And you look at Sebiani as well, the Ukrainian centre backs, and then who's Gurkes as well. He's made a lot of players better at that Bournemouth team, yeah. Who about 2 years ago, no one would have been chatting about them players. I look at Iriota, and I think he's probably the safe bet. Another manager I would potentially go for as well, who's in the Premier League, is a Glasner, because Glasner's been around outside of the Premier League as well in Germany. He's done well at Frankfurt. He's got experience of winning in Europe as well at Frankfurt as well, and he's done a very good job at Crystal Palace. With Crystal Palace this season as well, I've not done bad. Remember at the beginning of the season, people were talking about them fighting relegation. Have you seen how quick they got out of that relegation battle? Well, now they're actually flying up that table. Palace, and they're actually above. I think they're above us now. They're about 11th or 12th, aren't they, Palace?
Yeah, they're above us. They're above us.
Yeah, and do you remember when he first come in, he done really well when he first come in as well, guys. I look at Glasgow and I think he would definitely do a much more better job with his squad as well. If you look at he lost Elise in the summer as well, so he lost Joachim Anderson to Fulham as well, so he lost 2 of his best players in the summer, Glasgow, and he still managed to adapt and still do well. And it's hardly make any difference to his Palace squad. They're still a decent team. I look at managers and I've looked at fans, and we make up too many excuses for a so-called the fan base is what I mean. Too many of the fan base's standards are very low, where they make excuses of like a club like we're like a Palace. No disrespect to Palace, like we're a team who's fighting 13th, 14th every year. This is when you look at it, this is a complete unacceptable season in any circumstances, with injuries or not. It's still unacceptable. We are joint 16th in the Premier League with 9 games to go. Yeah, it's mad. It's literally unacceptable no matter what.
Yeah.
What way people look? Sorry, mate.
No. I didn't want to cut you off. Palace are 12, 5 points ahead of us.
That's what I mean. So
I just looked at it.
12th spot not exactly smashing it. But you look at the position they were in like about 2-3 months ago. People were saying they were doing really bad. Glasgow was struggling.
Yeah.
He managed to completely turn that around, so he can get himself out of crises. As soon as Ange goes into one crisis, he seems to be in it for about 4 months. That's what people don't seem to understand. Is he wants to get out of a crisis.
Yeah.
Other managers, they go into like a mini crisis for like 3-4 weeks, and they bounce out of it again, and they go back on a decent run. This guy goes in a crisis where we've got one home win in 4.5 months. Spurs, one home win in 4.5 months. And that's against Man United, another team who are struggling as well, who are starting to pick up a bit of form themselves recently.
Yeah. It's great comments, Daniel. You're pretty much spot on, mate.
Yeah.
You know, with what you said there, I can't come back at you with a lot there at all.
No. What was it? The question was the manager we want to come in, because I was trying to look for that
not necessarily the manager, but what would you like to see from someone, Mark? And where do you think we should be, or where we should be with the squad of players that we've got?
Now, I believe we talked about this when we first started the channel. I believe it was on our first show, mate, wasn't it? When it was just me and you.
Yeah, it could have been.
Because we went through the Premier League, and it was, have we got a better squad than them?
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Have we got a better squad than them? Yes.
Yeah.
And where do I think we put us at something like between
fifth and
seventh? Yeah. It was sort of 5th, 6th, 7th. Because you got like Liverpool. Have we got a better squad than them? No. Have we got a better squad than Arsenal? No. Have we got a better squad than City? No. Have we got a better squad than Chelsea? No.
No.
There's 4. So there's your top 4. And I think we put us on a par with teams like Villa and Newcastle and us.
That was it. Spot on. Yeah.
Yeah. Villa, Newcastle and us. And we said, well, but to be honest, if we had a manager, you look at when Poch was here, he overachieved every single year. Every single year. Or most years, apart from the last one when they sacked him. But that's only because he never had the backing. But if you've got a manager that overachieves, then why shouldn't we be 4th? You know what I mean?
There's no reason.
With this squad. There's no reason whatsoever. That's not asking a lot to jump from maybe 5th to 4th. You know what I mean? Instead, we're 14th. Well, we're joint 16th. I know you can look at it, right, we are officially 14th, goal difference and all that. But in reality, we're joint 16th. So that's my answer. We sort of got, in my opinion anyway, we got the 5th, 6th, 7th in that area of squad, quality-wise.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I said at the start of the season 7th we'd finish. And that was being pessimistic. I was realistically, we finished 5th the season before under Ange. We should be looking to do better and going 1 better, 2 better. So to be where we are in the league is absolutely unacceptable. There's no doubt we should be, with this squad, in the top 6 or 7, battling it out for Champions League place. I don't think that's being too optimistic as a Spurs fan. I think that's where we should be. We are Tottenham Hotspur. We have the best stadium in Europe. We have the best training facilities. We have all of these things that we're apparently best at. Yet on the pitch, we have regressed horrifically over the last couple of years. So under another manager, I have no doubt we'd be in the top 6 or 7. Absolutely 100%.
Right, and I'm just going to jump back to this comment because I did say Nita 1 minute. She did put a question in. Football has changed far from. There is nothing wrong with freeing up wing back to go forward. Who fills the gap? DM.
Well, we ain't got one. True, but he just doesn't play with one.
No, we ain't got one.
we know that's what should be happening, or one of the if one of the fullbacks goes, play one inverted and one stays, so you've got 3 sitting. Or if you don't want to do it that way, play with a DM and make sure he sits, so you've got 3 there all the time. But this fella just won't do it. We can all see it. We're crying out for it. As people that have played football, I'm not a coach, but I'm looking at it thinking, are you going to change it? And it just very rarely happens, Nita. And that's what I think frustrates all of us so much. That when it does happen, it's forced. When we beat City 4-0, City are not going to sit back. They're going to have the ball. So when we're nicking the ball off them, we got lucky that day. We took our chances. There's a lot of days that we don't take our chances, and there's a lot of days that we're wide open at the back.
It's basic though, isn't it? It's just basic tactics.
Yeah.
Under Poch, our fullbacks used to bomb forward. They weren't inverted, but they used to bomb forward. We were caught out of position a lot with our fullbacks being up.
But we
always had an Eric Dyer, who played in that 6, or Wanyama, who would drop and make a straight back.
Dembele as well.
I mean Dembele, but a bit more. It was Dyer was more defensive. Wanyama was more defensive. There'd always be someone who would drop into a back three, so there's always cover back there. And just doesn't. He has no idea how to defend at all.
Just say big up to Eugene. Big up, sir. Lord knows.
Sorry, mate.
Lord knows what time it is in the morning where you are.
Yeah, I'll be in touch with Eugene as well at some stage for our lifetime Premier team. So, Eugene, just before you go, I'll just say we're doing a lifetime Premier League squad. So if you can come up with that, your lifetime Premier League squad, 11 players, 5 subs in your lifetime. Get on to us and we'll get you on the show to do it and get a video out. You'll be another one added on. That'll be great.
And when we finish, mate, Daniel, we'll get your details as well. We'll be contacting you.
Yes, about this, Daniel, just to do a video, mate.
Yeah, I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna head off in about 5-10 minutes, go and grab some food, but I'll be back in about 15 minutes after. If you still want, I'll give you.
Yeah, I've got your number in a group anyway, mate. So I'll get hold of you one.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've got his number in one of the groups. Yeah.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I didn't realise you were.
But say about the number 6 thing as well. But say about the number 6 thing as well. Well, basically, it's so basic. What would a lot of his system would be helped if he just put a number. He just put a number 6 just to help that defence out. It's madness where he refuses to get one. The problem people will say apparently is that it's becoming a dying breed now in football. And number 6, no, you can still get number 6s in football. There's still people who are more natural defensive-minded midfielders, and his utter refusal to get one when we're so open to the bit where in transition as well. You look how easy it is to get through our midfield. Sometimes I think it was it the Alkmaar game when they played us at their ground. They were just running through us like a steam train, and I was like, it's like the midfield just like opened up, it's like opened up. It's like, here you go, just go through 3. I was like, what are they doing? And that was Alkmaar, and I was like. If you look at that, a lot of that would be helped if he just put a number 6. Obviously, he got a number 6. There's midfielders out there. Apparently, people saying we're linked to Cardoso. Like, I've not seen enough of him to say if he could play number 6 in the Premier League. But he looked pretty decent. It's only a one-off game, but he looked pretty decent against Real Madrid. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Played a very good, decent game against Real Madrid, but I've not seen enough of him. But he's a player who's worth 21 million quid. You could probably get and then automatically either Levy signed it, man, because Levy brought him in on that Celso thing, and he could flip him probably straight away because Betis have been impressed with him, giving him a new contract, and they regretted putting that clause in straight away because he's probably worth 40 million now. So if we got him, we could probably flip him straight away. So it probably wouldn't surprise me if Levy even done that, because clubs do that sometimes. They sign a player permanently and sell him straight away. I know Juventus done that with us with Romero. Signed Romero from Juventus. And then sold Romero a day later for extra profit. So he's in the market, you can do that. But we definitely need a number 6, man. But the tactics are so crazy to the point where we could play average teams and we get. Was it the Bournemouth game? I think someone was saying earlier the Bournemouth game where they could have scored in the first minute. They could have scored 4 in the first 10 minutes. I think they had 2 or 3 or 4 opportunities where we were lucky in that Bournemouth game. People were saying, here we only bottled a 2-0 lead. No, Sarr scored a lucky cross shot, and then we got a penalty.
Yeah.
Hibio didn't lose that 2-0 lead, really. We just got back into the game, luckily. And Bournemouth should have killed that game off when it was 2-0. It could have been 3-4. They hit the post a couple times. And I'm like, mate, we got lucky in that game. Everyone's like, Hibio only got exposed a little bit when it was 2-0 up, and Aaron's got it back to 2-2. No, we got lucky. And just done that a few times this season, where he does not deserve points, and he's somehow got points in games as well. But you're like, how has he managed to get a result out of this much? He's done that a few times as well. I'm looking at a game with 1-0 down against a few games at home, and then we'll score 3 quick fire goals in 10 minutes, just out of the blue. He's done that a few times since he's been here as well. Since he's been here, since them first 10 games, how many games has he actually played where we've actually looked like his Ange ball system that everyone says here, where it actually looks like it's in full effect? Because I've only probably seen it, 2-3 games since the whole. Yeah. Since the first 10 games, how many games have you seen Ange, the football that apparently people told us that apparently he plays to his best ability? How many games have you seen that since them first 10 games? I've probably seen it, 3 games?
Yeah, Man
City.
Man City 4-0. Villa, when we turned them over 4-0, wasn't it? Was that last season or this season?
It was this season with the 4-1.
Yeah,
4-1 last season as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
So maybe, that was, and they got helped by Villa getting a red card as well in that game. I remember McGinn got sent off.
That's right.
So we beat 4-0 at their ground last season, and the 4-1 as well. Yeah. So
and what was the common factor in all of them games?
Go on.
We sat back. We sat back and hit them on the counter.
Yeah.
Or
when the other team wants the possession, if it works out right for us and we defend properly, then it works. If you want to go like we did against Liverpool when we lost 6-3, that was a joke.
That was nonsense.
That again was just not adapting. I mean, that was shocking. That.
Although in the first leg of the semi-final, we did sit back, or shall I say, they pushed us back, because I don't think we ever sit back on purpose. No. Is if they have all the football, we've got to sit back. Let's get that in there. It's not if we decide to, it's if we're pushed back. You look at the Man City game when we beat them 4-0 at the Etihad.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get it straight. We were pushed back.
Yeah, we was.
Because they had all the football and we had to defend as a team.
Yeah.
But then when we did turn them over and we sprang with the ball and played quick football, those games you mentioned, the Villa games, the Man City away game, and the Liverpool game, the first leg of the semi-final, it's the only games I can say that we've looked like a team. When we've looked like a functioning team, and we've sat back then because we've had to. Not because we chose to, we've had to. And then we turn the ball over, wherever it is, and hit them quickly on the break. 1 or 2 passes and we're in on goal.
Yeah.
And that is very similar to Conte ball.
Yeah.
All right, it's not as boring as Conte ball, but see, I know we don't want to go backwards with managers and blah, 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 but what would Conte have done with this defence now that we got now?
Well, like we were saying earlier, he's going to be up there in and around the top 4, isn't he? Would he not be with this team? Do you not think so?
Hang on, mate.
Yeah. Cool.
Sorry.
I'll just quickly.
To be honest, it seems to me it's.
Go on, Dan. You go first because you're going in a minute.
Yeah, I'm going to go about 2-3 years. I'm about to say with Conte as well. I was one of the first people a few years back said I probably didn't want him to stay at this club. I'll be one of the first people to openly admit I got it wrong, mate. Like, I could take him back now. But you look at, he's been out of management for a while. He's gone back to Napoli. Napoli were what, 8th or 9th last season? They didn't even get European football last season. The year before that, they won the league. But then the next season, they didn't get European football at all. He's gone straight back in there. The next season, he's gotten back into a title race. In his first season back in Italian football, he would definitely do better with this squad and at least be fighting for the Champions League. Even when he left, if you still think about it, he left and we was like 3rd or 4th in the league when he got sacked. The reason why he left was because of the hostility around him at the time. It was sort of like, I think he wanted to half go as well. But if you actually look at his run, like, he probably would have got us. We finished 8th that season. If he would have stayed, we definitely would have finished 8th. If he would have stayed, 25th or 6th. I look at him now, like, if Conte would have been able to squad, we got more set up for a Conte team as well. That's what makes it mad. So we've given some of these players, we've given to the wrong manager 2 years later, which makes it mad. We're a strange football club, man. We do things very strangely. Like, we didn't give Poch money when he needed money to get them 2 or 3 extra quality players that could have basically potentially won us the league title, because apparently stadium excuses and all stuff like that. And then we decided to give this manager loads of money to spend on players. This manager. Out of all the managers, out of all the ones we've had, like Mourinho, Conte, Poch, we give Ange the money, we give him over £300 million in like 18 months. So it don't make no sense what he's doing as well. It makes no sense. So it's like he's realised he's like, then he spent the money still on like youngsters as well, like, and then so we just, that's what I mean. We spent loads of money. We don't even really the squad from last season to what it is now. It's hardly improved. And we still spent how much money in the summer? Nearly 200 million quid? 160 million, something like that? It's what I mean. How can we just throw money in the air every summer and still come and get worse. So I mean, this guy is somehow managing to make a. We're going to be sitting here and like, if we keep this guy here, we just keep giving this guy money. We're going to be sitting here in a couple of years' time saying this guy spent 800 million, how Arteta did, but we're still 10th in the league or 11th in the league. At least Arteta's got Arsenal fighting for like in the title races every season. Even though I hate to say it about Arsenal and Arteta, at least after that money's seen some improvements. It's £400 million money into his reign, yeah, and we got worse. I don't even want to trust this guy with any more money as well. That's another reason why it's got to go. Because I do not want to see any more players sign under this manager, because basically every player he signs, they do good for a little bit and then they get worse and they'll decrease. Their form goes down. So I mean, Adoji looks awful now, to a point where you look, even though Spencer's really good, people don't want Adoji in the team anymore, because obviously Adoji dropped off before he was getting injured. His form was dropping off well before the injuries. So I mean, he's made so many players worse. That's another reason why he's got to go, man, because we can't just sell 15 players because this guy stays. Because they've got crap under his man, under him while he's been here. And that's what will have to happen if he stays. We'll have to get rid of a lot of this squad. And apparently bringing these imaginary players to work to his system, these players that don't seem to exist in football. I want to try and work out what these players are. They can play this imaginary system that people tell me about, Andrew's system, like, oh yeah, all he needs are these players and this system will work. Where are these players then? The people tell, like, people keep saying, oh, these players, you'll get these players and this system will work. Well, has he got any of these players yet? He's been here 2 years, so if he needs these players, has he got any of them yet? Because I keep hearing that as an excuse. Like, apparently these players exist in football. I don't think they do exist. Because if they do exist, they don't want to play this system. I know that.
Yeah.
If you was a serious footballer, and you was like, I want to play in a system that completely exposes all my weaknesses and doesn't really get all my strong points out of my game. It's basically, you just exposed as soon as you lose the ball. We lose the ball, but something you got like 11, 10 players up, 9 players up there all the time. As soon as we lose the ball, it's just like what? They're straight at us in one pass.
Yeah.
So Conte, if he was here, would have us more structured. This system's more suited for playing counter-attacking football, and we definitely would be joint 16th in the Premier League. I know that. Even with the injuries, we'd at least be what, 7th or 8th. Even with the injuries, we would not be joint 16th, which is 14th basically. So yeah, I definitely think Conte would do much better.
Fair dues, mate. Dan, if you want to jump off, mate, now would be a good time if you want to jump off.
Yeah. Appreciate you for letting me on. And
anytime, mate.
But I say when you next got a show or anything, just send me the invite. I'll pop on again if that's all right, mate.
You can pop on anytime, mate.
Anytime,
mate. Appreciate that, man. It's good to meet you. It's good to meet you, Nigel, as well, mate. Yeah.
Take care, buddy.
Speak to you soon, Dan.
See you later, mate.
Take care, mate. Bye, mate.
See you later, mate. Yeah. See you later.
Just to say, if anyone in the chat wants to jump on at all, Mark will stick the link back in again, or it's up the top of the chat there somewhere. In the next 5 minutes.
Just about to do it now, mate. I'll do it now for you, mate.
Yeah, we'll chat for a bit longer if anyone wants to jump on, or we'll just chat between the three of us for another 10 minutes. Nige, I've got to ask you. I know it's a way away. Do you not necessarily see anything changing before the end of the season? We all, we hope it does, but we know it's probably not going to. But do you see us getting through the next round of Frankfurt, Nige? Do you see us beating a Lazio probably? Do you see us getting to the final and probably, the chances are playing a Bilbao in their own stadium and beating them in the final? What do you think about that?
I'm still with you. No, I do not see us. Frankfurt's going to be a really tough game. It all depends on our home games. If we can beat Frankfurt, we need at least a 2 or 3 goal lead, I think, going into the second leg. So I think it all depends how we play at home. Can I see us getting to the final? No, if I'm honest. It would be great if we could, but I don't see it. And I don't see a lot changing this season, if I'm honest. I think it's going to be very much these last 9 games of lose 2 or 3, win the odd game. And I don't see us breaking that top 12. But it is all on the Europa League, and I just don't. Sadly, the way we're playing, I just don't see us going far in it.
I agree with you, mate.
I want to be positive, but I just can't be.
Haz, how are you?
Yeah, I'm right, man. Just
I've
enjoyed the 2 weeks off, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Problem. Obviously we're playing Chelsea next Thursday. But my thoughts are like, how meaningful are these next 2 games before the Frankfurt game? And what will he rest players in both games? Or will he rest players in one game, or will he rest players because another thing I thought of, which I don't think a lot of people have thought of, is with the Southampton game, because we're going to the protest. If, for example, the protest goes well, which I think it will, and then we go to the Southampton game, we lose, won't that just ramp up more pressure? So will he rest players in that game? Because I do think it's a question mark on that. And the Chelsea game, I don't think he can afford to rest players, even though he might want to, because I just think it'll be too much of a backlash from the fans if he does. So we're in a sticky situation. I've already kind of come to the conclusion he's going to be gone at the end of the season, because I just don't see us winning the Europa League. So I kind of just look forward to what manager we're going to get next already.
Who would you, if the inevitable did happen and, he went who would you, if you were looking out there now and you're thinking, he's my type of guy for these players that we've got here now, who would that sort of manager be for you?
Okay, so if I was running the club, I'll go for Diego Simeone, but we're not going to get a manager like that back in ever again, I don't think. So, and he doesn't match the transfer policy that the club wants, i.e. bringing young players, developing them and sending them on. So we kind of have to accept the circumstances we're in, even though we all want Levy to go, and try and bring in a manager that will kind of fit the mold he wants, but kind of overachieve at the same time. I know it sounds a bit messed up. So if it was me, and this might sound more like a transitional manager rather than like a manager I want for like to win things, but I'd bring in Thomas Frank. Mate.
Go on, Scott.
Don't worry, it's banter. I don't know if Scott's but like for me, I don't think Iroda's going to come, because I think Bournemouth will finish in Europe, and I kind of don't want him because I think he might suffer the same problems that Ange has had with the injuries and stuff. You look at where Bournemouth play. So for me, I don't want Silva because he's down tools at 2 different clubs, but I'd go for Thomas Frank. But this is mainly because I want a manager that comes in that kind of can stabilize us for 3 years. Like even he came in and we finished 6th 3 years in a row. I think we kind of need that right now. And then, and that sounds harsh me saying this, but like in 3 years we can revisit. And if the young players develop to a certain level, they might need a manager who can push the extra out of them to go in and win something. Then maybe we'll have to change managers again in 3 years. But right now, I think we just need someone to come in and just stabilize the way we are. And unfortunately, I have to pick a manager who I feel can actually kind of work with the transfer policy, which I don't even like myself. So for me, Thomas Frank's probably the best option because he's been at Brentford for 7 years. So he's kind of a stable manager in that respect. I think he can relate to the younger players. I've seen a few clips of him. I think he's attainable because I don't think Brentford would like not let him go. My biggest fear, guys, is we end up with McKenna. If we don't get Frank or Ariola, I think we'll end up with someone like Kieran McKenna.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You think that's the road he could go down?
Because he's ex-Spurs. That's the only reason I say this.
Yeah. What do you think, Nige? I know we've talked about it before, but have your thoughts changed on it or anything? Or, who you'd fancy if he did go? Or, if he wins the Europa, are you one of those that's like, well, yeah, he's won us a trophy. He's our most successful manager since the General. Do we keep him for another year? I mean, what's your thoughts on that way of it?
For me, he goes regardless. I don't care if he wins the last 9 games and wins the Europa League. For me, he's not good enough. Just want to caveat that by saying, just because I want Ange sacked doesn't mean I don't get behind the team. I will always get behind the team.
Oh, of course.
I'm just not keen on the manager.
Yeah.
And as for who takes over, I've been banging Terzic's drum for the last 4 or 5 months. I will continue to do that. If Terzic come in, I'd be one of those guys who dies on the hill for him, because I think he is the man who could take us forward.
That's fair comment, mate. Mark?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
You know whose drum I always bang, mate.
Yeah.
And they say never go back to your ex and all that, but I'd have Poch back in a heartbeat.
Right, so Mark,
Honestly.
let me just ask you that.
Honestly.
Let me just say to you though, yeah, I understand that. So let's say, for argument's sake, just to round it off a bit, let's say he's not available till the following season, not next season, the following
After the World Cup. After the World Cup.
If it wasn't possible for a short-term manager to come in for a season, would you then be happy to put up with Ange, know that Poch is coming the following season?
Certainly not. I'd sooner Ryan Mason. You know what I mean? Definitely not, man. Jesus Christ, man. I don't even think Ryan Mason wouldn't have us playing like this, would he? He certainly wouldn't invert the wing backs. And
I don't know anyone that would have us playing like this.
No. You know what I mean? I mean, all right, Ryan Mason's not the best in the world, but he must be slowly getting better, being like number 2, 3, whatever he has been to Conte, Mourinho, God knows who, insert managers' names I probably can't even remember. You know, he's just been lurking about forever, hasn't he? You know, and you can't tell me the way things is going with Ange, you can't tell me that Mason would do any worse. You know what I mean?
Well, his record's better in the short term, isn't it? I know
there we go.
A small sample size.
Well, there we go. You know,
his record's better.
Yeah, you know, but like, you know, I mean, like, I love Pochettino basically because of how he made me feel when he was here as a Spurs fan. You know, going into the pub and not having the, you have banter with your mates and that, but you know what I mean? You know, but every time I went over the pub, I was the part of it because, you know, a lot of chatting in the pubs is about football and various other things that we won't go into. That's tomorrow night on Nigel's channel.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, that's what it is. You know, you have a chat with your mates and whatever. But suddenly, when Poch was here and he got us going, suddenly it'd be me going in there with a chest saying, you know, to Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, United fans, oh, we got you next weekend. You looking forward to it? And they'd be like, not really, you know. You know, for years and years, they'd be saying to me, oh, we got you in a couple of weeks. Do you want a beer on it? And I'd be like, yeah, go on then, but not really. You know, do you want one now? You know what I mean? But when Poch was here, I used to look forward to going in the pub and having like 3 or 4 beers for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, where I bet, like, you know, say we played, I don't know, Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever, you know, and there'd be a couple of them in the pub. I'd always have a friendly beer with them, you know, and going in there and having the first 2 free, first 3 free, you know, if they were in there. Some of them used to.
Mark, there's no doubt under this regime, whatever you want to call it, from top to bottom, but as far as the manager's concerned, we are now a banter club.
Well, we are, man.
Ifs or buts about it. We are a banter club. I get the piss taken out of me royally, regular.
Well, exactly, man.
Do you know what I mean? Regular.
To be honest, mate, I ignore my Facebook now. All the bloody things I get tagged in. Honestly, Facebook's about the only one I look at because I'm old and decrepit.
Yeah.
You know, but like, you know, the amount of things, like when I do look at it, oh, let's tag Mark in it. Let's tag Mark in this. And it's some funny meme thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's what we become. Firstly, because of the regime. But a lot of it has got to fall on the manager's door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, but, you know,
Well,
but you got to remember, when Poch was here, We still have the same regime. You know what I mean? You know, we did.
I was going to say, sorry. All my friends who don't support Tottenham want Ange to stay. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, exactly. I put things on there. You know, I post the odd thing on Facebook about like Levy out and Ange out and all this stuff. And all my Arsenal mates, not that I got many, but like all the people I know that support, no, we want Ange to stay. That's how much of a laughing stock we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We are.
And so that tells you everything you need to know when fans of other teams, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, United, you know, they all like answer me saying, "Oh, Ange is doing brilliantly. I want him to stay." You know?
Yeah. Well, he's not doing brilliantly, is he? Because
No,
as far as you know, listen. I can get behind all this. You know, there's fans out there, back the team, whatever. You know,
I do back the team.
Choice. Yeah, but I'm talking about we're if you like many others, we've just got an opinion. We sit here dissecting. You know, as if we're coaches. We're not coaches, but we've got an opinion. We're allowed to have an opinion. You know, apparently, you know, sometimes we're not. You just got to support the team. Well, I do support my team. I've supported my team for 57 years. And I don't need people to tell me how to support my team. I'll do that as I see fit. And if people don't like it, don't watch. It's as simple as that. Because as far as I'm concerned, I speak my truth. I don't tell any lies. I only talk about what I see. And that's just how it is. Some channels are other ways, you know, you just got to support the team regardless. Well, I do it in my way, and I'm sure Az does it in his way, Nige does it in his way, and Mark does it in his way. And I think it's very important for everyone to let everyone know what they're thinking about their club. Because we've all got different opinions. We might all have the same general opinion. Other channels have got different opinions, and that's fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah,
You read that. That's funny.
Yeah, that's tomorrow night.
And I'm going out before that as well.
Oh dear, that'll be interesting. Make sure you all come over to No Mud in the Pub on Nige at Pure Coys tomorrow night. What time, Nige? 9:30?
I think it'll be about 9:30. Yeah, bring your crusty socks.
That's it.
I may be asleep by then. I don't know.
Yeah. Mark will have had a few by then, so you know it's going to be an interesting show. You know that. So it's got a bit of honor. Chaps, we've been on for an hour and a half. Is there anything that anyone would like to say about anything to do with Spurs? I don't know if you want to say anything about the protest, because we had a chat about that earlier.
All right. Well, I'm going to go. So, but does anyone know what time it starts and everything? Because I haven't seen anything.
It is 12:15, apparently.
Yeah. Is it the same place as last time?
Yeah, down by Seven Sisters. And
yeah,
it's
I know. Lordship. Is it Lordship Lane?
Yeah. Sports Direct, whatever, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's easy to find. I know where.
Well, to be honest, Haz, we'll all see you because all three of us on here are going to be there.
Yeah, we'll all be there. It's all good stuff.
But yeah, like for me, like I said, I think we want Levy out, but I just think we have to accept the circumstances we're in right now, and Levy's not going to go anytime soon, barring a miracle. And which is why I think the next manager that has to come in has to kind of work within the constraints of the transfer policy and the building up young players thing. Because the reason I was looking back at old Spurs managers, for example, like Martin Jol worked because he just chucked in every single youngster he got given, regardless of the circumstance. He would just play them.
Yeah.
So, and then some of them developed, and we finished in the top 5 twice. And then Renat worked because he just liked buying cheap players. But then once he wanted to go the extra mile and buy like the top players like Guerrero, whatever we were linked with, they weren't prepared to do it. And then with Poch, it worked partly because he had a lot of the piece of the puzzle already there, and he had like 3 or 4 to finish it off. But also he had you know, he just fit the young players again as well, really, like his personality, and Dele Alli and them loved him. So you kind of need to pick someone in that same sort of mold, like those three managers. As much as I want to bring on someone like Simeone, like I said, who just come in and just go rock out the arse about all these players and try and win at something right now. Under this ownership, it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, we just have to make the best of the bad situation, I think, personally.
I think Iraola gives me Poch vibes.
I can see that, Mark. I can see it. He gives you that on the touchline bit, doesn't he?
But then I have a rebuttal to that. So I think the part of the problem with our fan base is we're trying to not rekindle like with Poch, but as in relive an old thing rather than just moving on and trying to create.
Bloody right, I am. I am.
But the problem is that we need to create something new. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Right? And then we're always trying to copy other teams. Like now we're trying to copy Brighton, apparently. Before we're trying to copy, I don't know who else it was, Arsenal maybe, rather than just doing our own thing and then moving on and try and create something completely different. With Andrew, I have no idea what he was trying to create. I have no idea. But like, I just think we need to move on from Poch in that respect. Like,
fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Nige, quick thoughts on that? Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, not really. Make sure you join us tomorrow night for No Mud in the Pub. Should be a good one. But as far as Spurs goes, I just want this season over, to be honest. The sooner the season's over, the better. Look forward to the summer, and make sure everybody subscribes to the Two Mark shows and subscribes to Haz as well, and me.
Of course.
Great comment.
Of course.
Anything you want to say, Mark?
No, mate. Seeing as we've only meant to be on for like 40, 50 minutes, mate, we've done well.
Been a cracking show. Really enjoyed it.
I
do agree with him with that.
Exactly.
Comment that, Bobby.
I agree.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Anyway, it's been a great show. Thanks so much to everyone that's been in the chat, tuned in. Please make sure you subscribe to Haz. It's important. We're all trying to get our message out there.
Yeah.
Please subscribe to Nige at Pure Coys. Plenty of content coming out from Nige. Keep an eye on that. Please subscribe to the Two Marks. And please like as well. And the main thing is, we've got some shows coming up very soon that are going to be dropped on a regular basis. So please hit the notification bell for our shows. It's important. We'd like you to see the content that's coming out from us. It's been absolutely fantastic tonight. I've really enjoyed it. A good chit chat for an hour and a half. Thanks, Haz. Thanks, Nige. Thanks, Mark. And there's only
no worries, mate.
One thing to say. It's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him.
Cheers,
good night, everyone.
See you all
Thank
soon.
you very much.
You. Bye.
The Two Mark Show. Don't need a dressing gown. The Two Mark Show. You can put your run sheet down.